Today we're going to learn a little bit about complementary colors. So complementary colors, when we look at a color wheels, are going to be the colors opposite of each other on the color wheel. So for example, our red is going to be green, our blue is going to be orange, and our violet or purple is going to be yellow. So we are going to work on creating some spheres today using those complementary colors. So complementary colors are used to darken each other out, and that is exactly what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to start by using our stencil to sketch out quickly our 3 spheres. So make sure you have 3. It doesn't really matter where they are on the page, just make sure you have those 3. So we are going to start by coloring those in with our primary colors. Our primary colors are yellow, blue, and red, kind of like we discussed yesterday. So just start adding a light layer of the yellow, for example. So do not put too much pressure, because we want to be able to overlap it with another color. When you are coloring, make sure you don't just go left to right. Make sure you go in circles as well. Make sure you go in different directions. That is going to help you create an even surface on your sphere or on your drawing, whatever you're drawing. So just make sure you fill in that sphere, go different direction, and make sure you stay within those lines of that sphere. Do not go outside of them. So once we've colored that in, we are going to start grabbing our complementary color. So if the light is coming from that side, we will create the cast shadow on the opposite side, and it's almost like a 3/4 of an oval. So then we'll grab our complementary color, which in this case is going to be our purple, and we are going to start by adding that shadow on the sphere. So the part of the outline of the sphere is going to be a little bit darker, and as we get closer to the light, it's going to be lighter. So we are going to basically create a gradient again, going towards the lighter spot. So by creating the gradient, we make sure that the color blends in, that the color is not just like a thick purple strip on the sphere. The sphere is going to look more round, and by creating the gradient, we are going to give it that 3-dimensional look. So make sure you go from dark to light, as you can see in this video. And as you can see, I'm moving my paper around, I'm going different directions, and I'm blending it nicely. Once we're done with the shadow on the sphere, we are going to work on our cast shadow. So that is going to be darker as well, because if you think about a shadow, that's always going to be dark. So just fill that in with purple as well. And then we will start grabbing our yellow again and go over it to blend it a little bit better. And the yellow is going to be the thing that ties it back together. So we kept our purple very light pressure as well. And we're gonna keep using our yellow very lightly as well, just to keep overlapping it. With this sphere, we do not want to see the background of the paper. We just want to see the sphere shine, look nice, look great. We want the color to be within those lines. Once we're done with that sphere, we're going to move on to our red one. So we're just going to start filling it with red, still keeping it very light. And then we are going to move on to creating our little cast shadow, depending on where we think the light is coming from. And we will then start grabbing the complementary color. So the complementary color for this one is going to be our darker green. So we are just going to start filling that in with our darker green, kind of like we did with the purple for the yellow one. So make sure you keep the darker area dark, and then create a gradient towards the light, keeping always a lighter pressure. Once we're done with that, we are going to fill in our little cast shadow and go over all of it again with our red to seal and burnish our pencils. So that is going to be our last layer. Make sure you go multiple directions, and as you can see, our sphere is going to be looking a little more 3-dimensional. make sure that you don't press too hard on that sphere. Like on the contrary, just make sure you use a lighter pressure and overlap that color, create layers, and build that color up to be what you want it to look like. So once we're done with that sphere, we are going to move on to our next one. So our next one, the last primary color that we have not used yet, is going to be the blue. So for this one, we're going to use our darker blue, and we are just going to fill in that sphere with a light pressure. And you can definitely see that I'm using a lighter pressure on this sphere because the sphere is going to look a lot more opaque right now. It doesn't look as shiny as the other two. And then once I'm done with my first layer, I'm just going to grab the complementary color, which is going to be the orange for this one. And I'm just going to add the shadow on the sphere like we've done for the other two, just keeping the pressure darker where it's dark and lighter where it's light, and then I will fill it in again with the blue, blending it all together. Another quick way to think about complementary colors is if you look at our secondary colors, we used yellow and red mixed together. It's going to create the orange. The only primary color we did not use in that mixture is blue, so blue and orange are going to be complementary. We used red and blue to make purple. The only color we haven't used is yellow. That is going to be its complementary color. Blue and yellow together create green. The only primary color we have not used, it's going to be our red, and that is our complementary color. So once we're done with the sphere, we're going to add finishing touches. So we're going to grab our white and just add a little bit, almost like an oval, to create that brightness, that highlight on the sphere. And it is going to be a little bit hard to see on this video, but it is there. So great job, you've completed your 3 spheres using complementary colors. So now when we start darkening things for our next projects, make sure you use your complementary colors instead of just darkening with black.